In ancient China, Emperor Khan sees his daughter Turandot run into the throne room and trips over a hole in the carpet, which makes her cry. This carpet represents the continent and the hole is Malvia, a small peaceful kingdom that they haven't established relations with yet. To fill up the carpet, Khan sends out his men to Malvia led by General Boyan. In Malvia, the royal family wears 3 magic bracelets, one for the king, one for the queen, and one for the prince. It's a family heirloom and nobody should wear all 3 at the same time because that person would get great power but also be cursed. Prince Caliph is being sword trained by Master Zhou, and the kid is picking up the Chinese style of fighting pretty fast. At that moment their peace is interrupted by an attack from Boyan's army, who shoot a few flaming arrows before storming the castle. Malvian soldiers go out and try their best to defend their home, but Boyan's army is much bigger and easily overpowers them as they kill any person who dares fight them. Eventually Boyan and his men win the battle and next to the royal bodies they find the 3 bracelets, which they take to the emperor. On Turandot's birthday, she's opening hundreds of gifts and finds the box with the bracelets. She puts 2 on and tries to share the 3rd one with her dad, but he puts it on Turandot's arm too. This immediately activates the curse as the bracelets change shape and tighten around her arm, causing her to cry in pain. No matter how hard she tries, Turandot can't remove the bracelets, and soon she loses the ability to see color. Khan wants to try using a knife to remove them and Turandot sees his face as a skeleton when he comes closer, causing her to pass out. Later, the high priest informs Khan that he's learned that the curse can only be lifted by a future suitor. When Turandot turns 15, she'll share 3 riddles and whoever solves them will break the curse, but he'll also be risking his own life. If it's not done before she turns 18, her heart will turn to ice and she'll lose her mind. Meanwhile it's revealed that Zhou has escaped with Caliph, who has lost all his memories. After changing the boy's name to Blue Eyes to protect him, Zhou brings him to his hometown where he reunites with his family, and Blue Eyes immediately befriends Zhou's daughter. Many years later, Blue Eyes is a teenager determined to learn the art of fireworks. Zhou's daughter Luer has become a sister to him and she often bothers him when he's practicing. One morning, she plays a prank on him that ruins his firework and finishes his last gunpowder. To apologize, Luer takes Blue Eyes to the mines, where they sneak around to watch how the masters create amazing fireworks that form shapes like a phoenix. Unfortunately they're seen by a guard, so they have to start running through the mine. Whenever the guards try to stop them, they push them away and jump on the furniture, trying to slow them down. Suddenly the guards are about to catch up to them, but the firework master throws a few sparks at the guards, allowing the duo to escape through a hidden tunnel. At the palace, Boyan checks on Turandot, who has grown into a beautiful yet cold princess. Khan wants Boyan to train her, so Turandot has no choice but to fight him. Because of the curse, Turandot has special abilities and can move at great speed, so at first Boyan can't land a single hit. However, when he breaks her loom to grab a wood piece, she begins attacking him directly and proves her swordsmanship is still weak. Offended by his criticisms, Turandot runs outside at super speed and waits for Boyan to cut his cheek, so he changes the wood for his actual sword. By looking at the reflection on the metal, Boyan manages to grab Turandot, quickly disarming her. At that moment, Blue Eyes and Luer come out of the tunnel, which takes them to the palace garden. Seeing Boyan grabbing Turandot, Blue Eyes misunderstands the situation and comes in the princess' defense using her sword. Thanks to his master's teachings, Blue Eyes offers a very good fight, and Boyan recognizes it as Zhou's style. Both men continue to exchange hits and Boyan's experience comes through when he finally overpowers Blue Eyes, but when he's about to stab him, Luer tries to stop him with her whip. Boyan easily pushes it away and brings down his sword, but Turandot inserts her arm and the sword breaks against the bracelets. Then a bunch of guards appear to arrest the intruders, but Turandot says they're with her and announces Turandot will train her from now on. Soon the 2 teens begin training with their swords together every day and a bond between them grows. Turandot is very impressed by Blue Eyes because he can keep up with her regardless of her curse. One afternoon while they're jumping around the palace ground to train, Blue Eyes accidentally touches the bracelets and is shocked to see flashbacks from his homeland's invasion, although he doesn't know what they mean. In the meantime, Boyan asks the high priest to make him incredibly powerful. In a small secret lake inside a cave, the priest tries to perform a special ritual that starts covering Boyan in gold, but it doesn't work and the gold disappears. Boyan begins wondering if he must kill Khan to gain power, so the priest points out that Boyan could marry Turandot instead. Sometime later, Blue Eyes misses Turandot so much that he visits her during a full moon, which is the only night he's supposed to stay away. When he sneaks into her room, he's shocked to find her tied up by multiple pieces of fabric and starts cutting them, ignoring her warnings to leave her alone. The bracelets are digging into her skin more than usual and as soon as she's free, her eyes change and cause her to see Blue Eyes as a skeleton. Soon the curse takes over and Turandot turns the fabric into a weapon to try to attack Blue Eyes, who speaks to her with sincere words while blocking her weapon with his sword. His words help her snap out of it, but she's angry because he broke her rule and almost died, so she asks him to never come again. A few days later, Blue Eyes becomes a royal guard and is part of the team that protects Prince Yuzong of Lampu when he comes to visit their town for a festival. Turandot is still locked up in the palace, so she keeps herself busy by using her powers on the looms to work faster. Many men have died trying to solve her riddles, but Ka insists she tries again on the prince that just arrived. Back in town, Blue Eyes is finally off duty, so he enjoys the festival with Luer and her friend Yuang. They notice that Yuthong has a very fancy dagger, so Luer uses her whip to send it flying, and it's caught by Yuang, who immediately runs away. Yuthong begins chasing Yuang through town, and after lots of jumping he manages to catch him, but Yuang throws the dagger at another friend and tells him to run. Meanwhile, the prince's bodyguard attacks Luer, but he's too slow and she easily dodges all his moves as she jumps around with her whip. Luer then tries to escape by climbing a weak structure, and the bodyguard decides to bring it down. However, Luer jumps away before she could get hurt. At that moment, Yuthong appears as he tries to chase the other guy, but before the structure hits him, Blue Eyes saves him just in time. Afterward, Blue Eyes makes Luer return everything she stole and shows Yuthong around the festival. He also takes him into the mines, where he makes a small tree firework to bless the prince. Yuthong then shares he's come to solve the riddles and his brother died trying. He can tell that Blue Eyes loves the princess, so Yuthong announces he's now his sworn brother. The next day, Yuthong visits Turandot pretending he's here for the riddles. However, he takes out a dagger and tries to kill her for what happened to his brother. Turandot moves fast and catches the dagger when he throws it at her. Then she commands her threads to knock down the bodyguard and capture Yuthong, reminding him that his brother had accepted the contract. Later, during a public ceremony, Khan announces he'll forgive Yuthong if he's capable of answering the riddles. Blue Eyes is working as a guard and watches the sun reflect on the bracelets, which causes him to have another flashback of the massacre full of blood, violence, and bodies. Wanting answers, Blue Eyes comes forward and asks Yuthong to let him answer the riddles. Khan wants to know why he's doing this, so Blue Eyes lies and says that as Yuthong's sword brother, it's his duty. As the crowd chants their support, Khan agrees to give him a chance, and the high priest starts the ceremony, explaining that fireworks will go off if Blue Eyes gives the correct answer. If he fails, he'll be executed. Turandot comes closer and Blue Eyes admits he's doing this to save her, but she just responds with the riddle that the bracelet whispers into her mind. What is born of darkness and dies at dawn? Blue Eyes concentrates on finding the answer and has a vision of his mother guiding him through the castle. Then it changes to the day of the massacre, during which the king shows up severely wounded. The guards can't keep the invaders out, so the queen grabs all the bracelets and forces them on her husband's arm, saying there's no other choice. While the king absorbs the new power, the queen tries to fight, only to be pushed away. At that moment, the curse finally takes over the king and he grabs a sword to fight, showing great power as he easily starts beating down the enemy, roaring and fighting multiple men as if it was nothing. In the present, a bell announces Blue Eyes' time is over, and since he doesn't have the answer, he's taken away to be executed. As he's carried to his death, Blue Eyes has another vision and sees his mother telling him to leave with Zhou because he's the kingdom's only hope. Seeing it as a sign, he yells that the answer is hope, causing one of the bracelets to break. However, Turandot is in the palace and nobody sees this. So before Blue Eyes can be killed, Zhou jumps in to rescue him. After knocking down a few guards, he throws a lance and saves Blue Eyes' falling body right before it lands in the boiling water. At that moment, fireworks start exploding in the sky, confirming his answer is correct. Afterward, Boyan steals a piece of the broken bracelet and orders his men to not let the fireworks explode even if Blue Eyes gets another answer right. The next day under the rain, Turandot shares the second riddle. Women are beautiful for it, men are unsettled for it, yet they die together when it turns into unbreakable ice. Blue Eyes concentrates and another vision shows him that his father sees everyone as skeletons, causing him to lose control to the point he kills his own men. Zhou takes little Caliph away and the queen jumps in to protect them, only to end up killed by the king. Once again, time runs out and Blue Eyes doesn't have an answer. He's tied up to a pole and his punishment is 1,000 cuts, so while the executioner starts hurting him, the pain causes Blue Eyes to have another vision. The queen's death makes the king to snap out of it, and the combo of grief and guilt causes him to break his sword and self-delete. In the present, Blue Eyes announces that the answer is blood, and another bracelet quickly breaks at the palace. The servants try to shoot a firework with an arrow, but the rain only makes it fall in a puddle. To make matters worse, Boyan's men show up to stop them from trying again. While a fight ensues in the palace, it's announced in the ceremony that Blue Eyes will be executed. Zhou suddenly yells that the rain may be interrupting the fireworks, so Boyan decides to fight him as he reveals their brothers. Yuthong, his bodyguard, Luer, and her friends proceed to fight the guards so Zhou can confront Boyan, using special tricks of his sword to get the upper hand. Luer tries to reach Blue Eyes, but there are too many guards and she's pushed off the platform. Zhou ignores Boyan and decides to join the fight against the soldiers to save Blue Eyes. However, Luer is captured and everyone is forced to stop. At the palace, Turandot uses her magic to kill all the soldiers, quickly saving the servants before finding the arrow. At that moment, Blue Eyes insults Boyan, who throws his sword in retaliation, but the sword is stopped by magic. Turandot flies down on the platform and announces Blue Eyes gave the right answer, so he's freed. That night, Blue Eyes tells Zhou he finally remembers everything, so he agrees to leave the kingdom that killed his people. The next day, Blue Eyes and Luer are ready on their horses, but Zhou is late. Suddenly they're surrounded by Boyan's men, who start chasing them through an open field. Eventually Blue Eyes decides to fight, but as soon as the battle starts, Boyan's men are stopped by Turandot, who disarms all the soldiers and scares them away. Then Blue Eyes tries to escape too, but Turandot blocks his way and causes him to fall. Her servants capture Lure and surround Blue Eyes with their horses, hitting him a few times to make their point. When Turandot demands an explanation, Blue Eyes admits he regrets accepting the riddle contract and challenges her to a fight. In just a few moves, Turandot overpowers Blue Eyes and starts reciting the last riddle. It can give you freedom just as it can enslave you. You light the ice and you get more coldness in return. As Blue Eyes takes the chance to escape her grasp, Turandot begs for help, but he refuses to do it and steps forward, causing her sword to stab him in the chest. Blue Eyes whispers her name before passing out, and suddenly Turandot's arm starts hurting. It turns out her name is the answer and the bracelet breaks, making her faint too. When the servants rush to help her, Turandot wakes up and her skin loses its paleness as color finally returns to her eyes, allowing her to see the beauty of nature. Sometime later, the royal medic is taking care of Blue Eyes and explains to Khan that the boy survived because his organs are on the other side. Turandot comes to visit him and announces the next day is their wedding, but Blue Eyes tells her to learn who he really is first or he won't marry her. While Khan sends his men out to discover Blue Eyes' identity, Boyan gets a piece of every bracelet and gives to the high priest, who throws them in the small lake to start the ritual. Boyan steps into the water and the dark magic takes over his body, filling him with great power. Once the ritual is over, Boyan tests the results with his sword, but all his wounds instantly heal. Then he stabs the high priest for knowing too much. In the evening, Blue Eyes is getting drunk at a restaurant because he hates the fact he loves the daughter of the enemy. Hearing this, Lure rushes to tell Turandot the truth. Meanwhile Boyan visits Zhou to ask him about Blue Eyes. Zhou refuses to talk and a fight ensues, but no matter how many times Zhou hurts him, Boyan's wounds always heal up. Desperate to survive, Zhou escapes through the window. At the same time, the high priest arrives at the mines to beg for help. Moments later, Blue Eyes tries to enter his home only to be captured by Boyan and his men. When they're about to take him away, mysterious soldiers arrive and kill some of Boyan's men before the leader shoots an arrow at him. Boyan catches it with his hand and threatens to kill Blue Eyes, knowing the archer is Turandot. Then he reveals he found a jacket with the insignia of the Malvian royal family, which means Blue Eyes is the enemy. Turandot doesn't care and offers to accept any condition to save Blue Eyes, so Boyan asks her to marry him. The next morning, Blue Eyes is taken to see Ka, who decides to free him even if he's the enemy as thanks for saving his daughter. Blue Eyes still wants revenge, and when Boyan tries to shut him up he's interrupted by Turandot, who brings the high priest and the truth. The day Boyan's army visited Malvia, Ka's orders were to only establish peaceful relations. However, Boyan thought Ka got soft and that they should be conquering more land, which his soldiers agreed with. Then he killed the envoy and made it look like Malvia did it to start a war. Back in the present, Boyan confirms the story is true and uses a piece of armor to kill the priest before calling for his soldiers, who immediately storm the palace and kill the servants. Then Boyan reveals he brought fireworks under the disguise of a wedding gift and shoots some flaming arrows at them to make them explode. However, the firework master had guessed his intentions and the fireworks form a huge dragon that attacks Boyan's army, defeating it in a matter of seconds. Seeing his soldiers go down makes Boyan mad and he fights a few royal guards, quickly killing them all. Then he challenges Ka for the throne and the emperor accepts, thinking he can defeat him by using a sword made from a meteor. However, as he starts hitting Boyan, Ka is shocked to see the sword breaking little by little. A smug Boyan pushes him away and the rest of Ka's people attack him, going after the remaining soldiers as well. A brutal battle takes over the throne room as people show off all their skills with a variety of weapons, like Lu Yar's whip and the strength of Yuthong's bodyguard. Blue Eyes and Zhou fight Boyan together, but their weapons are useless. They manage to kick Boyan against the table, only for him to grab a knife and throw it at Zhou's chest. Furious, Blue Eyes tries to fight him yet he's overpowered again. Turandot tries to save him and Boyan retaliates by choking her, but he lets go of her when he sees Zhou standing up. Boyan jumps on his brother and tries to kill him, so Lure grabs his arm with her whip, only to be thrown away. Then Blue Eyes throws a box at Boyan's head before Turandot drags him out of the palace. Boyan immediately follows them, giving Yuthong and the others the chance to defeat the last soldiers of his army and win the battle. By using the secret tunnel, Blue Eyes and Turandot arrive at the mines and shoot fireworks at Boyan, but nothing can hurt him. He starts destroying the place and Blue Eyes pushes Turandot down before she can get hurt. Then he lights up bigger fireworks, which destroy Boyan's armor and burn his skin yet he always recovers. Eventually the fireworks bring down a statue that falls on top of Boyan, bringing him down. Thinking it's over, the teens are about to share a kiss, but suddenly Boyan comes out of the debris. Blue Eyes rushes to attack him and Boyan breaks his sword, pushing him back. Then Turandot tries attacking him too and when Boyan hits her, she spits blood on his shoulder and notices it's hurting his skin for real. As she flies back, she throws her blood-covered sword at Blue Eyes, who catches it as he slides to stab Boyan. Thanks to the blood, this time the sword goes through and shocks Boyan, who immediately burns down. Afterward Blue Eyes rushes to Turandot's side, who finally calls him Caliph and tells him where to find the secret of the fireworks before she dies in his arms. The next day, Caliph begins traveling back to Malvia. He stops at various cities on the way and always lights up huge beautiful fireworks to bless the locals. When he finally returns home to rebuild his kingdom, Caliph becomes king and celebrates with more fireworks. At his side, he sees Turandot's ghost, who lights up a firework too before disappearing. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.